What's up YouTube, Mellow Matt here. So we did have the Luquier reveal coming to overdress a few weeks back, and I actually wanted to spend this video sitting down discussing what I feel the ride lines could be for Luquier along with its 2 support cards. So there's two obvious ways they could go with it. They could go the pure Silverthorn way, like they did with the V format, or they could open her up and go for the generic format like they did with the original format. So if they went for the original route, the ride line I feel they could go with is going across the gap as the starter, because it was the iconic starter that came out with Luquier back in the day. Then we can go for the grade 1 being the Turquoise Beast Tamer, into the grade 2 being the Crimson Beast Tamer, because these are 2 iconic units that was used by Asuka a lot, and it's a pair that a lot of people have been waiting to see for a while now. And then obviously going up to Luquier as the 3rd form. And having support cards being Purple Trapezist, and they could go Mirror Demon, because given that bit of Power Moon multi-attack, which is really nice. So as for skills, what I feel I could do is have starter or Girls Across the Gap be the obvious start skill. Then you have not Purple Trapezist, Turquoise Beast Tamer, that was the one I was named for the ride line. Turquoise Beast Tamer could have the skill, when this unit is rode upon by Crimson Beast Tamer, move the attack to a rearguard circle. So you've got the Pale Moonish style of moving stuff from soul to rearguard circle. And then still retain its skill of, whilst you've got Crimson Beast Tamer in your soul, gain X power. So it was very iconic. It was literally a iconic version to the original. Or they could go with when rode upon Soul Charge. So you're not actually pulling it straight out for free, and you're actually building up your soul a bit. As for Crimson Beast Tamer, I very much expect it to keep the soul skill for providing itself and the Turquoise Beast Tamers with a buff. But I'm also expecting an additional when rode upon skill of search your deck for X card, put it into your soul. Because you're wanting to build a soul up with this deck. But you don't want it to be soul charge, soul charge, soul charge, because that was never Power Moon style. It was always specific soul charging. With Luquier, however, I do see them changing her up slightly if they go for the generic route, and actually having her similar to her first style of gaining power for every card called from Soul, just so you're building up generic stacks for doing Power Moon combos. And obviously because you're not gonna have mass Soul Charge, mass multi-attack, due to obviously it's going to be encounters 6 cards maximum, it's not going to get to stupidly strong numbers, which is interesting. But then I also see them they could go with her, like her Limit Break 4 route was, but actually costing it better this time around. Because obviously back then it was Count Blast 3, Call of 3, 2, 1 and 0 from your soul. Which obviously the 0 doesn't matter much in this format. And the 3, you're going to be locked to Persona right at that point, which too slow. So I do feel more it's going to be something like Counter Blast 1, choose 2 cards called from your soul. Just something generic like that. As for the support cards, Purple Trapezist, I see them doing a generic, copying it and pasting it from the G format and just making it a 7k base. Nice and simple. Yes, I know it then invalidates the old Purple Trapezist, but it's such a good skill that I don't see them needing anything else for standard format. As for Mirror Demon, I do see them actually upping the buff and making it a 10k base, and I could potentially see them changing it to be, instead of end of the battle this unit hit, this could easily become when your Vanguard attacks, Count Blast 1, put it into your soul. Just so you're actually not being able to spam it, I think, is the best response. But that's if they go the generic route. The one that everyone's more predicting, just for the fact of obviously it leads up into a cross ride next, is actually going for the pure Silverthorn route. But as for the ride line, however, obviously starter would be at Inala, same as it always has been. Then they can obviously follow the V route, which obviously your ideal ride was going into Irina next. Because then when Irina was rode upon, you're then soul charging cards. And then if you hit soul charge 2 out of 3 Silverthorns, you then drew a card. Obviously that would have to then be changed for the V format, for the fact of obviously there'd be 6 Silverthorns overall. Sorry, overdress format, not V format. Then if they went that route, it would be soul charge. It could easily be a soul charge 3 draw card. But that might be too strong, so they might dim it down to 2 perhaps. We don't know. But then moving on from Irina, you'd then go into Lillian. And Lillian had the skill to obviously, when placed on Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, search check for any Silverthorn, and put it to your soul, and then gain power on rearguard when you attack for a number of Silverthorns in your soul. I do see them changing it for overdress, and actually it would be when rode upon by Luquier, Counterblast 1, search check for anything, and put it in your soul. Just for the fact of I don't feel they want to give an on ride and on place at the same time, because it then does lead to you're gaining so much, because then it would mean what's the point of riding Luquier at that point, for the fact of you're doing Irina into Lillian, and then you could just go into Barra Magnus, for example, and it's not really supporting the Silverthorn, the Luquier style at that point. So I do feel they'd change it to be when rode upon, just to keep the line in motion and make it more balanced, I think is the better way to put it. Then obviously Luquier, I don't feel they'd copy her V format skill word for word, for the sheer fact of to actually have multi-attack, they've either got to make the support cards the multi-attackers, which can lead to problems, because obviously those that remember Zero with Marasika and Ana, and it was like, oh, Marasika attacked rearguard, skill, call out another attacker. Oh look, it was another Marasika, I swing that the rearguard. Oh, that calls out another attacker, because I hit. And having on-hit multi-attack is too nerfed for the overdress format. So I do feel that Luquier could easily be, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, Counterblast 1, choose 2 your rearguards, put them into your soul, call them back out again. So you're not actually gaining actual advantage out of it, but you are generating multi-attack. And obviously with Soda Ride on top of that, you're then starting to build up your numbers quite a bit. Yes, it does feel very Brucey. The fact of obviously you'd then be just tucking you to front row and put them back out again, same as if it was Bruce Soul Blast 5 standard front row. But they could go further options with the second skill to actually warrant doing this over playing Bruce. So if you Persona Road this turn, any unit called from Soul gains a critical, for example, just so it's got an extra bit of pressure. There's so much they can explore with Luquier that it's actually really interesting. As for the support cards in Marasika and Ana, I do personally hope that they keep Ana like they did with V, in the fact that she countercharged, because that was very solid. And if you're going to keep building up your counterblasts, having a good way for the deck to countercharge is a very solid route. But if they don't put the multi-attack on the Vanguard Luquier, I do very much hope they give multi-attack to the Marasikas. But do it a bit more restricted than Zero, but not as restricted as it was outside of the OG Marasika. So hard named once per turn, multi-attack, end of the battle, or when your Vanguard attacks, Counterblast 1, put this to Soul, call a card that's not named Marasiga from Soul to Rearguard Circle. Just some form of multi-attack before the Vanguard actually does draw checks would be so solid for the deck. But that is my opinions on the Luquier lines. So, if you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. Very much does help the channel. We're gradually getting closer and closer to that 500. Please do let me know in the comments below what you feel that Luquier can do, because I do want to see what other people's opinions on Luquier are going to be. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!